welcome to the Coffee and Collaborations podcast. I am your host, Kimberly Winborn. I do have a co-host. He couldn't be here today. His name is Al Howard, or Al the Great, as some people call him. And he is the lead designer of Good Steward Apparel. So go check him out at goodstewardapparel.com. This month, we're focusing on health is wealth. So for the month of July, I've had a few experts in the area of fitness, wellness, exercise, all these different things that really help to promote a proactive lifestyle, which is what I absolutely believe that we should do. And so today I get to have somebody who I asked to be on probably like a year ago, but he's finally here, and he is someone who has been significant in my life. Probably about 4 or 5 years ago, really helped me to move forward in my health journey by introducing intermittent fasting to me, as well as a few other things, because I was dealing with some stuff. And so today I get to have William King join us today. So welcome, William.
Good to be here, always with my dear friend Kimberly. Great to see you, looking fantastic.
Thank you. I think when I met you, so before I met you, that was a goal of mine to never go down in the dumps concerning my health, to always be proactive about it. And then I had the opportunity to meet you, and you guys had that blueprint for living, and it just really spoke to me. And so is that something that you're continuing to share and teach and all of that still?
Yeah, I actually released a book. I wrote a book called The Blueprint for Life, and along with Sally Bear, who also wrote the book 50 Secrets of the World's Longest Living People. That's not available on Amazon or anything yet, but I just make it available to friends and stuff like that. I'm happy to, send you a link and let people download it for free.
Yeah.
It's something I never really released on Amazon, but we will at some point in time. I'm just swamped, but I wrote it, and it's something we built a company around years ago. But it's a great concept, and it's based on the healthiest people on earth. So it's a great thing to base your health plan around.
Yeah, I'll tell you, William, I became such a geek for health when I met you, and we had the whole Blueprint community. You remember you could jump on and listen to what do you call them, teleconferences or different things like that, where people would educate on those hot spots and all of those things where people were living beyond 100 years and just modeling that lifestyle, to your point a moment ago. And so ever since then, because I learned so much, I kind of became sort of a health coach without being certified, because I learned so much. And you say you're swamped with all the things that you're doing. So can you share with the audience exactly what those things are? Because you're continuing with that great education.
Yeah, well, years and years ago, I had really, really poor health. And I was actually introduced to a whole new lifestyle, which involved, right off the bat, for me anyway, it involved a fast.
Yeah.
And so I went in both feet right off the bat, and they were telling us all about things like organic and don't eat fried food. And, I'm from the South. I'm like, don't eat fried food. What are you, out of your mind? What is this? Who are these people?
Right.
And so it was a crazy thing to me. But I was in extremely poor health. I was on 7 medications. I'd been in a really bad skiing accident, and I was in a lot of pain, and I went through surgery and rehab and all these things, and I was still dealing with a lot of pain. And these meds were ruining my life, and they were literally killing me. And so I was able to turn that around and just find a whole new path to health and change my life. And so, it's really my mission to help people sort of do the same thing. And so to that end, we launched a company back years ago, Dr. Warness. You mentioned him before. I think you're having him on in a few days. Real great friend of mine, been my doctor for many, many, many years. And he and I came up with this thing called the Blueprint for Life, and we created a product around it and launched a company back in 2010. And that's how we found you eventually. Yes. And I remember you were struggling with some things. You look like you're doing great now, though. You must have overcome whatever it was. But I remember you jumped in with the fasting right away and everything. Yes. But yeah, so that sort of started my journey, and I was able to launch a couple different companies, in the health area now because it really is my life's work. And we launched the product Fast Blast back a few years ago, and it's really designed to support intermittent fasting, and so that's really what I'm doing full time now, and it's going well. We're all over the country. We're just in the United States, and we have some digital products that are global type product, but primarily it's the Fast Blast product here in the States. And now people know what intermittent fasting is, right?
Yes.
Years ago when you were first introduced to it, right? What was it? Probably 2015, 2014,
Yeah, I think so. I think like
like
2014 or 2013.
Yeah, yeah. No one had ever heard of it, right? And
Yeah.
so now it's this big thing. It was actually the top searched word for diet in Google last year. So it's really
Wow.
become a phenomenon, and it's really great for health. So it really is. It's great for weight loss, but it's great for a variety of health because the bottom line is the body does really good things at rest. If you just let the body rest, it does really good things. So
Yeah.
been doing that for a few years now, and it's going great. We help a lot of people, lose weight and improve their health. And I just think there's nothing better you can do to spend your time than to help people improve their health.
Yeah. And one of the things that is hard for people to grasp is that intermittent fasting from a mindset perspective, because, in America, especially, we're taught we can do what we want. I mean, we're free, right? You can do what you want. And so when somebody says that you can't eat French fries or you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that, right? We're like, what? You're crazy. You're extreme. But it's one of the things that I really loved about what you all taught is moderation. It was
Yeah.
like, have the things that you enjoy, but not every single day, and have them maybe just the weekend, or have them, and that's what life should be about, moderation. But so many of us are spoiled by the wants that the actual restrictions sound like prison, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
that's
Well,
why, go ahead.
yeah, one of the beautiful things is once you sort of take that first step to improve your health, it's easier to take the second step. So,
Yeah.
if you can just kind of break just break the habit, just one little thing,
Yeah.
it's easier to kind of snowball on you. And what we find is our program is really easy. Like you said, it's 2 days a week. And we tell people, eat your normal diet the rest of the time. But what we find, much to my surprise, but also, I'm really happy to see, is once people take that step, then they're open-minded about, hey, well, I feel better now. I have more energy. Maybe I should do a little more of this. What would actually happen if I ate a little better?
Right.
And so they're able to take more steps. So that's always been an approach. I think that Dr. Orness and I are both, and Sally Bear too.
Yeah.
We all embrace that. Rather than just dunk people's heads in it, to just
Yeah.
kind of take it one step at a time and meet people where they are, and some people are at different levels and ready to make different changes at different paces.
Yeah, and he's talking about Doc Werner. So he's a natural homeopathic doctor here locally in North Carolina. And I absolutely love him. He's one of the coolest people on the planet too. Like, just
He is
so
that.
much, so much suave. But
Yeah.
one of the things that I was dealing with, William, was energy issues because of my
Mm-hmm.
anemias. And
Yep.
I do have more energy now because of the lifestyle too. So even though I don't always blast fast or all of that, Fast Blast. I remember I loved the original Blast, and you always pick on me about that. But I don't always do it like I did back then, but it has become a part of my lifestyle to intermittent fast. And I talk to people about it all the time because people ask me, how do I maintain? Especially being a person in the South, and especially being African American, because oftentimes we're a little heavier. Actually, people in the South are a little heavier as well. And so
Mm-hmm.
how do I maintain my size? And that's what I tell people, just proactive living. One of the things that I really enjoyed that I learned when you guys talked about that blueprint was the certain amount of foods, the types of foods that you should be looking to have in your diet daily, like some of the fermented foods, and then, the oat beta glucans, and all of those different things that many of us don't know. And so from going to the Fast Blast website and all of that, will they get the information there?
Some of it. In fact, Dr. Warnes is in a video there if you go to the fastblast.com and go to the Fast Blast Daily Essentials, which is similar to the IKEA product that we had at one time. There's a video of Doc and I there. But since you brought that up, I know you want to cover a lot of ground, but I do want to share one story. The thing that the biggest lesson I learned from IKEA, I think, was when we first, and I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but when we first launched that company, it was, it was a network marketing company, and we're from here in Raleigh, North Carolina, but it went all over the, country very quickly. We were in all 50 states. Yeah. And all of a sudden I was doing meetings all over the country, all over the place, right? Yeah. Flying here and there and doing all these meetings. And I would do meetings in, 10,000 square foot homes. I would do meetings in mobile homes. I would do meetings in beautiful resorts. I would do meetings in dilapidated hotels. I would do meetings at clubhouses and backyards. Anywhere somebody would gather a group of people and want to talk about health, we would go there. And I dragged Doc with me on a lot of these. And what I noticed was really fascinating. At every meeting, what we would do, and just for your listeners to know, we had a nutritional product. All it was food. Basically, it was concentrated food. It was a organic, whole food. It wasn't some kind of magic chemical. It was concentrated food. Right. That's all it was. Okay, super concentrated nutrition. And we would always hear all these testimonials from the people, right? And every time we would go do a meeting, I would always get people to come up and say, what has been your experience? And they would share what their experience has been. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed very quickly that was really fascinating was that if we were in one of the more impoverished areas, people on the lower end of the socioeconomic level, right? Yeah. The testimonials were unbelievable. They were like, to give you two examples that were true at the time. There was this one guy who was like a truck driver, and he was his diabetes was so bad that he couldn't see as he was going blind. And because he started taking our product, all of a sudden he could see much better. So now he could drive his truck. Yeah. So to me, that was like this crazy. I was like, that doesn't sound right to me, but this is what they were telling me, right? And there was this lady I remember up in Virginia one time, and she had not been like out of her house in 6 months. She was kind of bedridden, and she felt so good on our product that she was all of a sudden able to go to Walmart. Right. Yeah. That was her big thing. She was happy because she was able to go to Walmart. Yeah. Which again seems weird, but that's life changing, for someone who's really sick. Right. But then we would go to places like, like Palm Beach. Mm-hmm. And these people, their testimonials were like, we'd say, what do you notice? Well, I have a little bit more energy. I notice my shoulder feels a little bit better. Mm-hmm. I noticed I sleep a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Things like that. So it was drastic. Right. The stories with one type of person on the socioeconomic level as compared to the other. Yeah. And all it is, and Doc and I talked about this for hours and hours, but all it comes down to is nutrition. Yeah. That's all it is. The people who were experiencing this unbelievable life change and transformation just by taking in nutrition, it's because they were having such poor quality nutrition day in and day out for decades of their life. Yeah. Where the people who didn't experience that much because they weren't sick. They were already in great health. And it's because all their lives, they were eating good nutrition. Yeah. So that's just, to me, the biggest lesson that I got out of the whole IKEA story was that stark comparison. And all it was access to good nutrition.
Nutrition. It's hard for people to believe that. And one of the things I think I did well with the company because I try to meet people where they are in whatever scenario, right? And you have to be compassionate and understanding. And when it comes to food, sometimes you just cannot convince a person that they can't have what they want to have. So I would challenge people to really think about things from this particular view. Why are you predestined to be a specific way based on a race or based on where you are, based on people who came before you. Because that was one of the other things I wanted to talk about, generational stuff. You know how people say, well, because my mom had it, because my grandma and all of that, I'm going to have diabetes. I'm going to have hypertension and high blood pressure and all of that. And I would say, why is it that you feel your deep predisposition based on, you know, your race or your culture or whatever? It's all about learning how to get it and apply information the right way. So back to nutrition, it was crazy to people to believe that you can eat well and heal your body of certain things, or your body begins to love you and love what it's receiving, and things change. You know, like
You absolutely can.
I remember, William, people with like fibromyalgia, lupus, just chronic pain, and some of that alleviation. I remember people just jumping for joy because they could come off of the metformin they were taking with diabetes or whatever other medicines, you know. And we were like, I mean, I was like, it's not that I'm saying somebody's going to heal you. Your body begins, because it's getting proper nutrition, to heal itself. Why wouldn't our God put things on the earth that, you know, were good for us? And so for me, my own personal story was easy to share because I was living it. And I had already always been sharing my health journey with people. But me personally, one day I had an aha moment, as Oprah likes to call it, where I realized I no longer had acid reflux. And my acid reflux was so bad that I couldn't even eat ketchup. I couldn't have orange juice, like anything tomato based. I had to stop eating. I could no longer enjoy spaghetti, you know, and all the other acidic things, you know, certain wines. And all of a sudden, one day I realized, like, I was like, I'm gonna try some hot sauce on some potatoes or something. And it was fine, because I used to love spicy food. So that was it for me. And then also the B12 deficiency with the pernicious anemia. I remember going to the doctor, and they had taken me off the shot for like a year or two. And my B12 went down. I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but it went down. Do you remember? Did I share this with you? No? Okay, so let me share this with you, William. The numbers were horrible. I went and saw my hematologist. I was feeling, you know, weird. And my numbers had gone down because they had taken me off of the shot. But my hemoglobin count and my white platelet, all of the other numbers were excellent. And she associated that with my nutrition. And she was like, whatever you're doing from a nutrition perspective has to absolutely be why your numbers are good over here, but horrible over here. Because normally with my B12 being that low, I would not be able to breathe, hardly walk, all these different things. And so it was eye-opening for me just how much nutrition really does make a difference in your body and your health journey. And so when you pick on me about loving the blast and loving all of that, that was why, because I personally had stories to share of how it changed my life. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, to your point about, you know, people say, well, my father had this or that or other thing. I can share another personal story.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in my 20s, I always had high cholesterol. My cholesterol was, you know, like 270 in my 20s. And I asked the doctor about it one time, and he said, well, did your dad have high cholesterol? Did your mother? Well, yeah. He said, well, yeah, that's why you have high cholesterol.
Yeah.
I said, okay. But then somewhere, I don't know, late 30s, early 40s or something like that, I went on a vegan diet. I'm not a vegan now, but I tried a vegan diet for a while. I was a vegan for a couple of years. And I remember my cholesterol went down to 130. And it went down so low that my doctor said, you need to start eating raw coconut to get your cholesterol, because he wanted it to be at least 160. And that was from diet. I mean, plain and simple, my whole life, when I was younger, my cholesterol was sky high, but now it's much better. It's just diet.
Yeah.
You know, it's not genetic. It's not because my dad ate something. It's because I was eating what my dad ate.
Right.
That's why, you know. And, you know, in studying these longevity hotspots and talking to all the people who study that research, genetics certainly, genes are a factor, but it accounts for about 20%. Is what it accounts for. So you can definitely influence it drastically with your diet. No question about it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, true, for that person that's like, no, it is hereditary. I'm not saying across the board, but if for so many people, to William's point, it's diet. It's what's passed down from generation to generation that we keep those habits that keep us
Yeah.
bound in our health.
Most likely you're eating the same stuff your parents ate. I mean,
Yeah.
most likely,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the stuff
that's where I
having to
was.
season up well.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100%. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I'm from the South, man. My grandparents were pig farmers, and we ate pork all the time.
Wow.
And I mean, everything was seasoned, and all the vegetables had plenty of fat in there, and fat back, and salt, and it's delicious. And I still love that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I still do. I went to my aunt's today, and we had some really good food. But I don't eat that every day.
Right.
That's the key.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
That's the
So I
difference.
have that as a treat now, as opposed to every day.
Proactive living. So we talked about generational things that we pass down and how, so now you can say that, from the work that you began doing moving forward, it's a new legacy for your life, because you could have passed along those same traits to your children and all of those around you and not made as much of an impact. But because of what you learned and began to apply, now so many, probably hundreds of thousands of people, who knows about what they shared with somebody else and it was passed on from a Kia to now. Who knows? And so that's kudos to you, but then also your own personal family. So that is one of the reasons that I absolutely love you. You're consistent with the work and consistently sharing the message of proactive health. And
this has been a Coffee and Collaborations media production. Follow us at coffeeandcollaborations.com, on Twitter at coffee in the letter N collab, on Instagram at Coffee and Collaborations, and on Facebook at Coffee and Collaborations. See you in the next episode.